98 FM's Dublin Talks. Call 6797 981.
And good morning from Adrian Kennedy. How are you this morning? I hope everything is good with you. And I hope you can stay with us between now and midday today. How was your bank holiday? Riveting. Yeah, like all of us. Riveting. That's yet another bank holiday weekend that bites the dust in 2020. But anyway, it is what it is, as they say. Now, as we know, we're over the bank holiday. It's Tuesday. And this coming Saturday, it's Halloween. And we've been told time and time again it won't be your normal Halloween, and we've been encouraged to follow health advice and not bring the children trick or treating this weekend. So now every single one of you who is a parent is having the same conversation at home. What are we going to do for our kids to make Halloween a little bit special? Now, it's a balancing act, as parents don't want to completely cancel Halloween for kids, yet all we want to keep our children is safe from COVID. So I would love to hear from you on 6797 981. You can text, you can WhatsApp, or you can send a WhatsApp voice note to 0877 98 98 98. 0877 98 98 98. It is Halloween 2020. Well, it will be in a few days. Oh, that's scary music, that is. So, like I said, it's a balancing act this Saturday. So we want to hear from you. What are your plans for Halloween 2020? What have you put in place to make sure your kids have a safe but a good Halloween? Send me a WhatsApp voice note to 0877 98 98 98. 0877 98 98 98. What are your plans for Halloween 2020? Is there something happening in your area that all the neighbours are kind of signing up to? Is there going to be a bonfire around where you are? So what are you doing for Halloween 2020 in your house or in your area? Send me a WhatsApp voice note to 0877 98 98 98 and let us know exactly what you're planning for this weekend. Saturday night will not be the normal Halloween that we'd come to love and know. It's going to be a little bit different. Call me right now on 6797 981. Okay, Joanne has sent me... Oh, scary music is gone. Joanne has sent me this message. We have picked out 3 neighbours and have all agreed that we will call to each other's homes, and that's it. Not a bad idea. So we've picked out 3 neighbours. So the 3 neighbours are all in on this, and they are just going to visit each other's homes, and that'll be the end of that. So that's their plan. That's what they plan to do this weekend. What are you planning to do with your kids to make Halloween a little bit special but a little bit different at the same time? That's the question that we want to find out the answer to. And how are the kids feeling about it as well? Are they upset about it? Are they coping okay with it? Or are they really, 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 really annoyed over the fact that they can't go trick-or-treating? Or maybe you're actually planning to bring them trick-or-treating regardless. I know some people are. Now, it's a bit of a downer if you knock on somebody's door and they don't answer, because a lot of people will not answer the door this Saturday night. They just won't, because of the current COVID situation. So have you bought sweets? Have you... What is your plan? That's really what we're trying to find out. What is your plan for Halloween night this coming Saturday? What are you planning to do? How are you... Are you just staying indoors, keeping the kids inside, not going anywhere? I just got this message. In our house, we will be getting some sweets, making some chocolate apples. We will dress up and have a little party at home, just the 5 of us at home. And I know that's what a lot of people are doing. So having a bit of crack, but without the trick-or-treating, without going door to door this coming weekend. Let's have a listen to this WhatsApp voice note to 0877 98 98 98. This is Dave.
Morning, Adrian. I can't come on there because I'm stuck in work. No, we're having a Halloween hunt for the kids in my house. We're just going to go upstairs and we're going to hide a load of treats in around upstairs, all the bedrooms and stuff like that, and turn off all the lights. And the lads have to get dressed up and go upstairs with torches without turning on any of the lights and see if they can find all the treats.
Right, okay, that sounds good, doesn't it? Sounds all right. Pete, you're on 98 FM. Hiya, Pete.
Morning, Adrian. How are you getting on?
Well, what is the plan for Halloween 2020?
Yeah, pretty much the same as the last guy there that just said going to have a hunt in the house. Going to tie some apples to some string, bob some apples, have a bit of crack, you know what I mean? So we'll hide the sweets around the house. I think actually it's a very good idea, turn off all the lights. So I might grab a couple of torches and do the same, you know.
Okay, so it's going to be nice and simple, but you've already made a decision not to go trick-or-treating.
Look, you know what, Adrian, there's a lot of vulnerable people out there that are afraid of their lives of people knocking on their front doors, so I'm just gonna have to nip it in the bud and just say no this year, you know. Like a lot of the neighbours around the area where we are, some of them are quite old, and they're a bit fearful of, you know, people knocking on the door and them having this sort of answer as well, so I'm not going to put anybody in that situation, you know, for a couple of sweets, you know what I mean, where I can fill their bags for them myself, you know. I think that's the best plan. That's just my opinion. Sorry.
And the feeling is, you know, this hopefully, fingers crossed and all that, will be a one-off, a different Halloween, and you'd like to think that by next October they'll be able to have a more normal Halloween.
Well, that's it, absolutely, Adrian. You know yourself, it's just the year that's in it, unfortunately, and we just got to, you know, protect each other. I know we keep saying we're in this together and all, but you know what, this is something that we all can do together, you know, in a way of keeping everybody safe.
Yeah, and trick-or-treating is something that we can live without, I suppose.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what, and like the last caller and myself, I just, you know, we'll make the most of it at home. We'll have a bit of crack. You know, we get dressed up myself, and so we go a bit wild in the house, you know. All
right, very good. Well, enjoy it. Thanks very much indeed, Pete. 6797 981 is our telephone number, or you can send us a WhatsApp voice note to 0877 98 98 98. We're trying to find out what you are planning for Halloween night this coming Saturday. Have you a special thing, or maybe you are, like we said, a couple of neighbours have decided to kind of form a little bubble, 3 of them, and the kids will visit those houses only. Yasmin, what's your plan?
Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
We are going up to the woods and going to carve a few little pumpkins. That's our little treat. We're just going up there, a little pumpkin hunt and
Which woods are you going to?
The one that's close to our home, so it's in reach of walkable distance.
Oh, very good. Okay.
Yeah.
And are you going to go up earlier and plant or put the pumpkins around the place, or what's the plan?
Yeah. So I'll go up early with just by myself, and my husband and my 3 boys will trail on behind me there.
Very good.
An hour later. Yeah.
And would the kids normally go trick or treating?
No, not really. They're quite young, and I don't really give them treats.
Right, okay. So, that's fair enough.
They're more into the thrill, I guess, the dressing up and the face paints and thing all that. I've got a 5-year-old, a 3-year-old, and a 2-year-old.
Oh, you've your hands full.
Yeah.
But a hunt in the woods sounds like a great way to spend Halloween. It really does.
Yeah, we're really excited. The boys are really excited. And, obviously we're going to pick up after ourselves. But, we might just leave them there for other people to have a look if they're going past or...
All right, very good. That's brilliant. Yeah. All right, Yasmin, thanks very much indeed. I got this WhatsApp voice note from young Megan, who wants to explain what she's doing on Saturday.
Hey, Adrian, this is Megan here. On Halloween, my mum is going to go behind one of the doors, and she's going to go behind one of the doors and have a few sweets. Then I knock on that door, and then she gives me the sweets, and then we go do that the whole way around the house as if I'm going trick-or-treating. And another thing, so my mum hides sweets around the house when I'm not looking, and then she gives me a clue to where one of them is, and then I find the sweets. Then there's a clue on a piece of paper, and then we go the whole way around the house or wherever she hides them, and then at the end there's going to be a big pile of sweets there. Thank you. Bye.
Megan, that sounds mega. It really does. It sounds brilliant. Kira, you're on 98 FM. Hi, Kira.
Hiya.
Well, what is the plan for Saturday night?
So, a few weeks ago I saw how bad things were getting and I didn't want to let my little sister out, so I made her and her 3 or 4 little friends just little sweet boxes. So I put a fair enough in, and then I made one for her, and then her friend's parents agreed to make one for the other kids as well. And then I'll just drop them over to the house so Charlie doesn't have to go out. And then we'll just have the sweets in the house and probably play a few dress-up games or find the candy in the house somewhere or hang an apple and try to bite it and stuff.
Okay, so there'll be no trick-or-treating?
No.
No.
But I made a few boxes for her friends and stuff so they'll get something.
All right, very good. So, yeah, I mean, like I said a few minutes ago, we'd like to think it's a once-off. It's going to be an unusual Halloween, but you'd like to think by next October they can...
Everything's okay.
Yeah, you'd like to think. That's the theory, anyway.
We'd like to think,
yeah,
but we don't know.
But, yeah, you'd think by next October they'd be able to have a normal Halloween. And are they excited about it?
Yeah. I just can't wait to get sweets.
Oh, that's brilliant. All right, well, that's brilliant. Okay, enjoy, Kira. Thanks very much indeed. Anne-Marie sent me this WhatsApp voice note.
This Halloween, I'm getting a pumpkin and I'm going to stick a load of lollipops in the pumpkin and leave it on my pillar so the kids going by can take some lollipops. And then for my own children, I'm going to do a treasure hunt out on the field in front of our house.
All right, that's a great idea, actually. That's a brilliant idea, Anne-Marie. Sarah, you're on 98 FM. Hiya, Sarah.
Hi, Adrian. How are you?
Well, it's Halloween on Saturday and not a normal Halloween. What's your plan?
I don't have any kids, so I just saw a really nice thing on Instagram for people who do. So similar to Anne-Marie, it's kind of like a treasure hunt around the house, but there's actually kind of like written clues, and like the kids can then like read the clues and then go and like problem solve them and find where the sweets are hidden around the house.
Very good.
So there's just like there's one here, like just an example. It's witch's fly on a broom. Find your next clue in the downstairs bathroom. So like they'd have to read it and then like problem solve it and then go and find it. Like there's a good few of them there. So like it keep them busy for a good while, you know.
And where did you see that?
It was a page on Instagram. I can't remember, but I have them. I have them on screenshot and I can WhatsApp them in.
Oh, very good. Yeah, do please. Yeah, that'd be great.
If you want,
yeah, that'd be brilliant.
There's 10 or 12 of them there, so it would keep them busy for a good while, you know.
Absolutely, and a bit of work as well. It's not.
Yeah, it'd be nice for them, something different, you know.
Yep, very good. All right, Sarah, thanks very much indeed, and send those in to us, please, if you can. Marie, you have your 7-year-old Emma beside you.
Yeah.
And what is the plan?
Do a pumpkin carving competition. We're going to do a dress a mummy, so just like, you know, the bandages out the first aid kit.
Yeah.
Go in pairs and see who does that the quickest. And then we're just going to have a little party and disco and watch Hocus Pocus.
Oh, brilliant, yeah. Hocus Pocus, brilliant, yeah. Now, so, this Saturday is not going to be a normal Halloween. No trick-or-treating, no?
No, none.
You've made that decision. And how does Emma feel about that?
Oh, well, all of them are delighted. They can't wait. They want to do up their little trick-or-treat bags themselves. So we're going to get that ready during the week.
And that sounds really good. That sounds really, really good. And Emma's all excited about it.
She is.
How are you, Emma?
Say hi.
Hi.
Are you looking forward to Halloween?
Yeah.
Excellent. And it's going to be a different Halloween, but you don't mind, do you?
No.
No. Well, that's brilliant. All right. Thanks very much indeed, Marie. We'll take a couple more. Derek, what's the plan in your local community?
How are you? Good morning, Adrian.
Good morning, Derek. How are you?
Not too bad, thanks. What we're doing there in conjunction with Dublin City Council and Ringsend Norristown Community Centre is a family fun online quarantine quiz. So the 4 rounds of 11 questions will be all Halloween orientated, that the average family should, out of 11 questions, get 7 or 8 of them.
Very good.
So we'll have up to €1,000 in vouchers given away, as I said, sponsored by DCC. Oh yeah. Like first prize is a €300 one for all voucher. Second is 200. Third is 100, and then the next 10 prizes are €50 pizza vouchers, and then there's a load of €25 one for all vouchers as well. So,
that is brilliant. And this is for where? The Ringsend Irish Town community?
Yeah, and surrounding areas. So that's, Sandymount itself.
That sounds brilliant. And so the quiz itself will be all kind of Halloween themed?
Yeah, like question number 1, what do witches use to fly around on? That's just a very easy one to get them all engaged.
God,
you wouldn't have a clue. I haven't a clue myself.
Jeez, I thought you said they were easy. That's very hard.
So at 9 o'clock, we're going to start at 8, and then about 10 to 9 we're going to break, and then under the supervision of all parents, we're requesting families to light a candle for those who have lost their lives during COVID-19, and then we resume part 2 of the quiz about 9:05.
That is absolutely brilliant. That is really, really good. And Dublin City Council are involved in organising all this?
They are. They do have a Dockers and Demons festival in Ringsend annually, obviously, at Halloween. So they were kind of, their hands were tied this year what to do. So we came up with the idea, it was a team effort between Lorraine and Jennifer from Ringsend Irish Town Community Centre to put this together. So I've been hosting this quiz the last 6-7 months since lockdown back in late March. So I was approached, and I thought it was a no-brainer. It's great for the community, it's great for mental health, etc., etc.
It really sounds excellent. It sounds fantastic, Derek, and the very best of luck with it. And if anybody living in the area in Ringsend, Irish Town, and they'd like to take part, what do they do?
They just go directly to my page, but I don't want to give my full name for the simple reason we're going to get inundated. We're hoping to have easy a couple of hundred online. So this event was supposed to be getting put through the whole of Dublin, through Dublin City Council, but we requested it just for the Ringsend area, because if we do have 2,000 or 3,000 viewers and question number 1 is asked, and then we're getting the likes of 1,500 answers at once, scrolling back to see who was forced in to avail of the 5 points, second and 4, 3, 2 and 1. So that's the way it's all done. It's a team effort for my family with my son as the independent observer, recording all scores on his laptop.
Very good.
etc.
Very good. That's really, really brilliant, Derek. And I'm just Googling here. I can't find out the answer to that question at all.
I'll private message you.
What was the question again? What mode of transport?
Does a witch use to fly around?
Yeah, I can't find the answer anywhere.
Yeah.
All right, Derek, good to talk to you, and the very best of luck with that. That's a brilliant idea.
Thanks very much. Good morning. Bye-bye.
Good morning to you. Saoirse is a young lady who has a great Halloween planned.
My name is Saoirse, and we're going to be doing something different for Halloween this year because of Corona. We're going to do old school. We're going to go bopping apples on the string with coins, wrapping in tin foil because of Corona, and we're going to make chocolate apples, and then we're going to trick or treat around our house, knock at every door, and we're going to look at movies all night and eat sweets all day.
Sounds great, Saoirse. It sounds really, really good. And I was just looking at the weather for the next few days, and Saturday doesn't look great anyway. So even it looks like it's going to be lashing rain, to be honest. So, what better way to spend Halloween than indoors? Because who wants to be going out in the lashings of rain? Joe, tell us about your daughter's house.
Hello.
Hiya, Joe. How are you?
Hiya, Adrian, love. No, she was just about all the corona and all the lockdown. She said, Halloween wouldn't be cancelled in her house. So she took the Christmas tree down, got Halloween decorations that the kids had to make it in stone.
Okay.
And that was it.
And again, no trick-or-treating, but the house will be very Halloween-y.
Yes, that's it, Adrian, love.
That's brilliant. That sounds really, really good. And it's just a case of adapting to our new normal, unfortunately.
Yeah, exactly. Our new way of living.
All right. Good to talk to you, Joe. Thanks very much indeed. There you are. They're just some of the ideas and plans for Halloween night. And as we said, the weather doesn't look particularly brilliant, I have to say. So, okay, so here are some ideas that this was sent. Halloween at home, pumpkin painting, pumpkin carving, creepy nails, costume making, decorating, creepy cards, arts and crafts, scary poems, face painting, ghost stories, spooky baking. Not sure what that involves, but okay. Spooky baking, Halloween feast, a woodland walk, game making, movie night, and a Halloween Zoom party. All sounds really, really good. And it will be even more enjoyable if it is lashing rain outside. Won't it? Yeah, it will. All right, thanks very much indeed for all of your messages. You're listening to 98 FM's Dublin Talks, and this is Adrian Kennedy with you until midday today. Now, on the way after the break, how come I was able to do my weekly shopping on Saturday evening, I was able to buy alcohol, do the lotto, yet I couldn't buy a bra for myself or socks for the kids? Those are the angry words of a Dublin mother who contacted us this morning, angry over something that a lot of you seem to be angry over at the moment. The fact that your local supermarket is open as normal, yet has its clothes section cut off, sealed off. You can't get to it. This is a little bit different to our previous lockdown back in April and May, in that some shops have chanced their arm. Some shops have really pushed the boat out. But over the weekend, an awful lot of pressure was brought to bear on, for example, Dunnes Stores. And Dunnes Stores has closed its clothing sections for the duration of our level 5 restrictions. The supermarket will remain open for essential items and food, but will not be selling clothing. And I actually went over to Dunnes Stores at St. Stephen's Green Shopping Centre just an hour ago to find that, yes, that is the case. The clothing section is now closed off. A spokesperson for Tesco said that the clothing section will also be shut with the exception of schoolwear and baby clothing. We're adhering to government guidelines and have closed our F&F clothing and home entertainment units across the country, is what Tesco say. And Marks & Spencer will be closing its clothing and non-essential aisles until the 1st of December. So, as I said, an awful lot of people are not at all happy with this. Here's a WhatsApp voice note that has just come in straight away from Rachel.
Guys, I just think it's a bit ridiculous closing the clothes sections in shops like Tesco, Dunnes Stores, groceries. I mean, if you're in doing your weekly shopping and you need to pick up a few bits, you know, socks, underwear, clothes, kids are forever grown, that's fine, pop them in your trolley. But I mean, you're not going to spend hours browsing. The selections are limited enough in these shops anyway, so you're just going to get what you need and go. Doesn't it make more sense when you're out doing your weekly shopping rather than having to go specifically to another shop maybe? You know, not everyone can buy online. Not everyone can wait for things to arrive online. There's already pressure on couriers this time of year and businesses online. Closing off the toys as well, I mean, I think that's a bit far-fetched. You know, like that, if you're in Tesco doing your weekly shopping, surely you should be able to throw one or two items of toys in your trolley. You know, you're not going to spend hours browsing the aisles. Again, the selections are limited. You know, but it's okay to do click and collect from the like of Smiths or somewhere, and okay, it's click and collect, you shouldn't be waiting long, but realistically there's still going to be a bit of a queue, so you're still going to have to hang around people anyway. So I mean, put it in your trolley when you're in Tesco or Dunnes doing your shopping. And as well as that, like, not everyone can afford to be going to the bigger shops for things. You know, you might see something smaller in Tesco you can throw in your trolley and you're picking up a few bits as the weeks go along. I just think it's a bit silly.
All right, Rachel, thank you very much indeed for your message. Now, as I said, many people are saying this makes absolutely no sense. You're in the shop already, so you're hardly going to spread COVID by picking up a pair of socks and putting them in your trolley along with your bread and milk. Or maybe you can understand why this is being done. Because, for example, if you look at stores like Penny's or H&M, in fact, I passed the H&M just around the corner from us here an hour ago as well, it's closed. And it's closed because it's a non-essential retailer. So it would be a little bit unfair if directly across the road the drapery section in Dunnes Stores was open, wouldn't it? I certainly would feel that way if I were H&M. I'd love to hear from you on this right now on 6797 981. We're back in just a moment.
The sound of the city, from Ballybrack to Ballymun. This is 98 FM's Dublin Talks with Adrian Kennedy.
We got this WhatsApp voice note earlier on from a lady called Laura. Have a listen to this. Oh, hang on. If I press the right button, you'd be able to hear it. This is Laura.
Morning, guys. I think it's absolutely ridiculous that certain items have been cornered off in shops like underwear, baby grows, vests, socks, things like that. At any point, anybody could end up in a hospital, and you might need to go and buy these things, you know, for a child or a parent or so on and so forth. I think it's a bit far stretched now. It didn't bother them the first time in lockdown, so why should it bother now? As I said, there's a few shops that found loopholes and their entire shop is open. It's not that they're selling this particular good they're allowed to open for. I, for one, am getting really tired of this whole lockdown situation. It's not going to serve a purpose. We're all going to be locked down again in mid-January. So I just think it's ridiculous. Most of the numbers haven't come from retail, hairdressers, anything like that. They've come from homes, nursing homes, hospitals, so on and so forth.
All right, Laura, thanks very much indeed. I'd like to hear from you on this on 6797 981. You can text, you can WhatsApp, you can send a WhatsApp voice note to 0877 98 98 98. Sabrina, you're on 98 FM. Hiya, Sabrina.
How are you?
Well, what's you're pregnant, is that right?
Yeah, I'm 4 months now.
Okay, and what does it mean to not be able to shop for clothes and maternity wear, basically?
Well, that's it. I'm getting bigger. Like, this is my second pregnancy. My little fella's 36, and I'm bigger than this pregnancy. And I keep getting bigger week to week.
Right.
But, like, not everyone's in the same position. Like, I wouldn't have money to just go off and buy a busload of stuff to do me for the next few weeks. Do you know, I live on a week-to-week basis.
Yes, of course, yeah.
And same even for baby clothes. Like, I can't start picking up little bits because it's all sectioned off. You know, stressful.
Okay, how big of an issue is it if you are allowed to do it in a month? Well, on the 1st of December. If we assume and we keep our fingers crossed that we can get back out of level 5 on the 1st of December, will that be okay then? Will you survive until then?
Well, at the minute now, you'll laugh at this for a minute, but I was in work last week and my actual work pants ripped.
Oh, right. Okay, so you do need clothes.
Yeah,
it's become essential.
I literally just doing my bits and then I just heard I was like, oh God, no. So I literally had to pop the apron on the back of it.
Aha, right. Okay, so you desperately need clothes then?
Yeah,
and is it possible for you to get stuff online or is that much more difficult?
It's difficult for me because I wouldn't always have the money to do it online. By the time my bills go out, like I have my car is hire purchase. So we'll say in 1 week I could have my car, then the TV payments and whatever else. So I wouldn't have it, we'll say, even 2-3 weeks running. I might only have it the 1 week. And then when you go to look for a size, the size isn't there or it's out of stock.
Okay, so you'd much rather be able to go into a store and buy what you need.
Yeah,
right.
That's it.
And you're getting bigger by the day, so you desperately need clothes, yeah.
But even the local supermarket near me in Clonmel, they had actually even for people that aren't pregnant, they had all the women's sanitary stuff blocked off. Like, I think that's ridiculous.
Yeah, and in fact, there was a similar story, I think, in Wales, which is also going through a kind of a lockdown restrictions, and Tesco in Wales got into huge trouble over doing the exact same thing. And
they've actually Tesco as well.
Right, okay, well, they've rode back on it in Wales, so I assume they'll probably do the same thing here as well.
Yeah, see, I don't get, because it wasn't all closed off on the last lockdown, and the last lockdown was even more serious than this one, I think, myself. Yes,
it was. It definitely was. There's an awful lot more open now than there was back in April.
That's it, you see. But, like, even I seen an old man the other day outside one of the shops in Clonmel down the street, and he'd holes in his shoes, and my heart went out to him. Like, he doesn't have online, obviously.
No, it is very, very difficult for a lot of people, and that's definitely what I'm hearing. All right, Sabrina, thanks very much indeed. Adrian, it's typical Ireland, closing the retail shops because it's the clothes parties that are causing the spread of this, not the alcohol parties. So we leave the off licences open because they're essential and people won't have house gatherings. Again, these are decisions that don't make any sense at all. Shauna, you're on 98 FM. How are you, Shauna?
Not too bad, and yourself?
Good, thanks, Shauna. What's your point on this with regard to shopping?
And my point on this is there's a lot of families who will relate to my position on this. I have a child that has sensory processing disorder.
Mm-hmm.
And it is very unrealistic for us to try and shop online for her because she struggles with everything from visual to touch. So seams, colours of clothing, textures of clothing, all that type of stuff is a real struggle for us. We need to be able to actually see and feel the clothing and see where the seams are positioned to know she will be able to tolerate wearing that clothing. She's still attending school. It's getting colder and we can't get the basic needs that she needs for her to go to school, which means she's going to have to miss out and it's going to disrupt her routine.
Okay, so she needs to feel and touch and hold clothes before you buy them for her.
We need to be able to do it because we know what she can and can't tolerate.
Right, okay, yeah. You know the sort of texture of the material that she can tolerate. I'm with you.
Yeah.
But without that, so shopping online just isn't an option then for clothes,
no,
is it?
we've sent back, like we've tried during the last lockdown, we had to send back so many clothes and then paying for returns because a lot of places don't have free returns on clothes because she could not tolerate the texture or maybe even the colour or where the seams were positioned in the clothing.
Right, okay, yeah, that is very difficult for you.
On the last lockdown for the likes of Marks and Spencer's clothing section because they do seam-free socks and stuff like that, like basic things that we need, like seam-free socks and underwear for her. And now we can't even go and get those.
And were you in a position even last week before we knew when we knew this was coming down the tracks? Were you in a position to get any?
No, because my partner is working full time and I would not be able to bring her into a shop alone. I also have a younger child as well and she's quite hectic in the shop. She can't really tolerate the shops and the crowd.
Right, okay. So that's very awkward. That really is. And a lot of people, I mean, somebody just texted in, Duns and Gory closed off clothing, but I can buy a picture frame, new mirrors, rugs, bedding, ornaments, curtains. How is this right? That really doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Like they have alcohol for sale everywhere. Off licences are open. I don't feel like that's necessary when there's people that need clothing coming into the cold weather. A lot of people have winter stuff, especially with kids at a young age. Like they grow all the time. You can't rely on last year's winter stuff like most adults can. Like children are grown all the time. We can't rely on that.
And in fact, just on the off licences, I know an awful lot of people get annoyed about this, that you can go into Dunnes stores and you can walk out with a bottle of whiskey in your hand, but you can't buy a shirt or a jumper or whatever. Can people stop with the off licences are open thing? Do they not realise the strain that would be put on our hospitals, particularly the A&E, if every alcoholic in the country started presenting with withdrawals and worse, poisoning from drinking hand sanitizer and other products that contain any small amount of alcohol? Yeah. You have to get why people don't see it as essential. You can't buy clothes because they're deemed not essential, and as a result, Pennies and H&M and all of the clothes chains are closed. Yes, I can see the contradiction here. I can see why people are getting a bit vexed about it. Dermot says none of this makes sense.
Adrian, I think it's quite clear now that the lunatics are running the asylum. I can go into Tesco, I can't buy me kids a pair of socks, but I can buy a slab of beer for 25 quid. We're not to have house parties yet. They're allowed to sell cheap beer and we're not allowed to buy clothes. What is going on?
It really does make very little sense when we have spoken over the last few weeks and months about how it is the people having house parties. It is spreading. The virus has spread in households with people gathering in groups. To the best of my knowledge, it hasn't spread in Pennies. Now, Rachel, you're also pregnant and very stressed over this. Why?
Hey Adrian,
Hey.
I'm stressed because I'm 44 weeks pregnant today, and I only lasted. This is my third baby. My first, I went to 38 weeks and went into labour. On my second, on my son, I went to 37 weeks. So this lockdown, I don't know whether it will be over or not. Whether when I come into labour, and I was, as I said, as other people were saying, they were picking up things like week by week. So was I, like, until I heard the lockdown, but I didn't have €1,000 in a lump sum to get every single thing I had, and before everything closed. So now,
so what are you particularly missing then that you can't get?
My hospital bag, like, that's my last thing that I do get, where, like, etc., like me pyjamas, me underwear, me socks, the babies little, the tiny baby clothes when they're first born, they're tiny, everything I need for the hospital. Everything, like, clothes-wise. I don't understand as well. I'm very angry the way you can go in and buy picture frames, candles, air fresheners, and then you can't buy yourself some underwear, or they're not essential, where I think underwear would be kind of essential.
I would have thought so myself, to be honest. Yeah, I mean, a lot of it just doesn't make sense. So when are you actually due?
I'm due the 8th of December. That's my due date, but I, as I said,
You've gone early on the other ones.
Yeah, and it's my third as well, so they actually mentioned, Hollis Street Hospital actually mentioned the preterm labour to me. Over other reasons, but
and can you order? Is it practical for you to order the stuff you need online?
See, what happened was, Adrian, on my last pregnancy, when I ordered pyjamas from Next online in the UK, they came in all different sizes, and then it was returning them back, and it's just
a pain in the arse, yeah.
It's a pain, yeah. I would have rather, like, say, coming up in the next 2 weeks, just packing the hospital bag, going into Tesco's, Pennies, Dunnes, etc., just getting everything I need for a hospital bag, and for myself and for the baby. So now I'm wondering, like, is there anywhere at all that's going to let us buy clothes? But, like, it's really, really annoying to hear that, and I understand where you're saying people can't just stop drinking, and I understand that part, but you can buy home accessories that are essential, like candles and table lamps and picture frames. But what about the essentials of when a woman is going in to give birth and she needs clean pyjamas and after delivering a baby?
Oh, I've lost you completely there. Oh, she's just gone. Del, I'll be with you straight after the break. I'd love to hear from you on this on 6797 981. Gavin can't believe that people have any issue with this at all.
Yeah, Adrian, I think people are missing the point. It's not about being able to win a boy, little Ginny or Jane, their jocks. It's the fact that there's going to be loads of people mixing in the shop together. Like, they could have got their jocks last week, do you know what I mean? And just when it's closed now, it's a problem. Listen, we'll all hang on for 4 or 5 weeks and get through this, for Jesus' sake.
All right, Gav, thanks very much indeed. Del, I'll be with you straight after the break.
The sound of the city, from Blackrock to Ballyfermot. This is 98 FM's Dublin Talks with Adrian Kennedy.
A huge reaction to this. We're talking about what a lot of people see as a complete contradiction in the current rules that are in place under level 5, where you can't buy clothes, but you can buy whiskey. And a lot of people are annoyed about that. Aoife sent me this message.
Morning, Adrian. That girl actually has it wrong. In Dunnes stores, I was there on Saturday, and they have just the luxury items cornered off. If you want to buy underwear, you can. Men's socks, things that are regarded as necessities. But if you want to buy your sparkly top, or you're going out in the evening dress, or your nice fitting trousers, no, they have certain clothes that are regarded as luxury items. But you can buy pyjamas, you can buy stuff like that. So she's wrong on that score.
All right, Aoife, thanks very much. And in fact, I was talking to a security guard in Dunnes stores over in St. Stephen's Green earlier on, and he said that the drapery section is closed 90%. And he did point to a few essentials that you can still buy. Now, Kelly, it's your niece's birthday next week.
It is, yeah.
And how's the closure of the clothes shops going to affect you?
Well, the clothes shops doesn't bother me, but what about the toys? Like, she's seen things in Tesco's and she's seen things around a few shops, and she has said to her mommy, you know, oh, I'd love this for my birthday, I'd love that for my birthday. And that was weeks ago, you know, she couldn't get them at the time. She had nowhere to hide them at the time. So she didn't get them, and now it's all closed. So what do you say to her, like?
But can you not order online? Click and collect?
I suppose you can, but some places, I've seen online, some places aren't delivering. Smith turned off the online services there. I haven't been on since, but they turned off their online services because they could not keep up with the queues in the shop. The queues were outdoor, and they didn't have enough stock to be putting it online.
Yeah, let me just check now. They are doing home delivery and click and collect available on their website now. I'm just looking at it this very second. So I know they did have an issue last week where they were literally overrun and their shelves were wiped out. But I should imagine over the last few days they've restocked and they have pretty much everything.
How come it's all happening now? Like, how come I can't go to the shop to pick out with my daughter or with my niece or with anyone what they want to pick out, but I can go in and buy crates of beer? I went in to do my normal shopping there on Saturday afternoon, and I was in the queue and I was waiting to go in just to get me normal bits. I don't drink, so there was no drink being involved. But a woman walked out, and I'm not joking you, she had her full trolley full of alcohol, and I thought, so she can come out with her full trolley of whatever she wants to drink, and if she's having a party or whatever, but I can't go and bring my niece shopping and see what she wants for her birthday. How come it's like that? These parties are not going to stop. People are not going to stop their parties.
Well, as long as they can still buy drink, no, they're probably not, are they? That's just the fact of it, yeah.
Why is it open, Why can I go in and buy 6 or 10 bottles of vodka, but I can't say to my niece, come on, we'll go in now and you can pick out what you want for your birthday, and we'll buy it. And
I do get how people see this as a complete contradiction. We've spoken over the last number of weeks about how people having house parties has been responsible for spreading this, and you can still be facilitated to have your house party by buying drink or being able to buy drink. Yeah,
it's a joke, and that's exactly how it's been spread, because you know yourself, if you're too many and you want to hug everyone, you love everyone, everyone's your best friend, and no one cares, no one's thinking of the virus, nobody's listening. They don't care.
All right, stay there for a second, Kelly. Let me have a listen to this WhatsApp voice note from Helen.
Adrian, this is absolutely ridiculous. There is nobody that hasn't got 5 or 6 pair of pants, or maybe even 2 bras. And for children, every child has loads of boxers or pants for a girl. And we have washing machines. Did nobody hear of washing machines? It's not the third world we're living in. You can wash your pyjamas, your pants, your knickers, your bras, whatever. And I'm sure if you're going into hospital, Tesco's or Dunn's, if you went to the manager, they'd give you a pair of pyjamas out to buy, because that would be a special circumstance. It's only 5 more weeks. Get a grip. We need to get over this so that we can have Christmas for the children. Stop complaining over knickers and bras, for God's sake.
Okay, thank you. Del, you're on 98 FM. Hiya, Del.
Good morning, how are you?
Now, you have 7-month-old twins.
Yeah, just going on 8 months now. So I suppose my problem is at the minute that all their clothes up for, I've got loads of clothes up to 6 months, and they've substantially grown in the last couple of weeks. So I'm in a situation now where I need 9 to 12 months. And it's just kind of an inconvenience that I can't just go into Tesco's or Dunn's and pick up a few baby clothes.
What about that message that I just played there a second ago? We all need to get a grip. This is only for a couple of weeks. Stop making such a big deal over it.
Yeah, no, I get that, and I get all the restrictions, and I get non-essential shopping for crap and stuff. But I think for baby clothes, baby clothes are essential to me right now. So I think I should be able to pop in and pick up essential items for...
Okay, now I'm about to go to a caller saying, how were people not prepared for this? We knew we were going to have these restrictions put in place. It was flagged from weeks ago. How were you not prepared?
So in my instance, I had 6-week premature twins. So I have absolutely loads of clothes. I could open a shop for baby clothes up to 6 months. But they were 6 months premature, so they've just substantially grown in the last couple of weeks. So I wasn't I thought they were going to I thought the clothes I had them were going to fit them up until probably November. So I was in a situation where I can go out shopping in November. But obviously the restrictions hit quite quickly, and I'm living in South Wicklow, so I'm like an hour and a half from Dublin, where that's my hometown, all my family. So I don't even have any family around that I could, ask them to pop out and get it. Now I can go online and buy it, but it was just the point that I made this morning on Facebook. If I walked down Grafton Street naked today, I'm surely I'd be arrested.
Yes, you would.
So I wonder, would the judge accept, that the government had stated that clothes are non-essential?
No, I really understand exactly what people are saying here. That you walk down, but I couldn't get any clothes guard. I'm really sorry. I wasn't able to get any. That's why I'm in my nip here.
I know that's making a difference.
No, I know that, but I take the point as well. And clothes are essential, obviously. Now, Martina, you have COVID-19. Is that right? Or you had it, or do you have it?
Hi, Niall. Yeah.
Well, I'm Adrian, but that's okay.
Adrian.
I like Niall. He's a nice fella. Anyway.
Yeah, sorry about that. No, yes, I currently have it. I will go to be tested tomorrow, and hopefully I'll get a negative result. But yes, I'm just coming out of the isolation period now at the moment.
How have you been, just as a matter of interest?
I'm good now, thank God. I didn't really suffer like you hear a lot of people saying they have.
Mm-hmm.
I got all the usual sweats and all the aching body and all that kind of thing, loss of smell and taste. I got all those things. But yeah, I'm coming out the other end of it now, which is great, absolutely.
Was it as bad or not as bad as you might have thought it would be?
Not as bad as I might have thought it would be.
Okay. Your point is that we need to stop this thing in its tracks, and people need to stop giving out about the restrictions.
I do, actually, yeah. Now, I do absolutely understand all of those women that have been on. I mean, being there, being pregnant, had kids, all the rest of it. And I do understand about the lady with the little girl with the no seams, and yes. Which is dreadful, actually. And the pregnant woman and her pants ripped or her trousers ripped or whatever. And the last lady that was on as well. I do understand all of those. But
the argument that I'm hearing from a lot of people is that, you can go in and buy a slab of beer and have a party this weekend, yet you can't buy clothes. And, the argument is, did the virus spread through pennies? Probably not. I'm sure you didn't contract it in pennies.
No, I'm sure I didn't. And I would say the same for all small businesses like beauticians and everybody like that. They are absolutely 100% dedicated to what they were doing, and everything was done so well. And
but your main point is that it is what it is. We just have to live with it for a couple of weeks and get the figures down, basically.
It is what it is. But now I will say the alcohol, that is wrong. It is completely and utterly wrong, and I do agree with everybody about that. That should be stopped. It's not an essential.
Yeah, okay, and that is the overriding opinion I'm hearing from people.
Yeah, absolutely, it should be. They should halt to that now. But what I would like to say is that we should be able to do this, and we should be able to do that, and we should be able to buy knickers and this and that and the rest. But the fact of the matter is, we are in a pandemic here, and we can't. So we just have to, man up and get on with it.
All right, sorry to cut across you, Martina. I'm over time here, but stay there for 1 second and I'll come straight back to you after the break. 98. It's 11 o'clock across Dublin. Good morning. This is Adrian Kennedy. This is 98 FM's Dublin Talks. And this is Laura with Tuesday's top headlines.
Thanks, Adrian. Good morning. Locals in Kanturk in Cork say they're heartbroken following the deaths of a father and his two sons in an apparent murder-suicide. Tig, Mark and Diarmid O'Sullivan were discovered with gunshot wounds on the family farm. Gardaí are investigating if the triple shooting was over a dispute about land and inheritance. Student accommodation is to become available for tourists and workers in Dublin. 5 developments containing around 1,600 beds have been given the go-ahead to be used for other purposes. Renters will be separated from students and will be restricted to a 2-month stay. 354 people with COVID-19 were being treated in Irish hospitals this morning, the highest number since May. It's an increase of 6 patients on last night. It comes as 939 new cases were identified yesterday. 38 of the patients are in intensive care. And Ireland has one of the lowest breastfeeding rates in the world. The Irish Maternity Indicator System says only 2 out of 3 women start breastfeeding their babies before leaving hospital. That compares with 90% in Australia and 81% in the UK. And now you're up to date on 98.
98 FM's Dublin Talks. Call 6797 981.
And this is Adrian Kennedy with you until midday today. I cannot believe my ears this morning, says this message. People moaning and giving out because they can't go and browse around pennies for clothes. What a complete first world problem that we can't last a few weeks without clothes shopping. We knew this was coming, and yet people are coming up with all kinds of excuses to complain. What if they end up getting this life-threatening virus because... Sorry, the message has gone off my screen there. Life-threatening virus because they were browsing around the shops, or worse, what if they bring the virus home to their children along with their so-called essential new socks? Please, people, get a grip. Aideen sent me this message.
Good morning. I think that the baby clothes section should be open. They're essential. Babies grow so quickly and destroy clothes so quick. It needs to be open. 6 weeks is a long time to have it closed, where an adult isn't going to grow out of a pair of leggings or a pair of trousers in 6 weeks. That's the difference. So when you go into Tesco's and you see the baby stuff, you should be allowed to buy it. They're essential. It's all a bit mad, to be honest. Who's coming up with the rules? The people who don't have to buy the clothes.
All right, Aisling sent me this.
Hi guys, I was in Dunn's in the pavilion on Friday looking for a jacket for my son. I picked one up and I walked over to the till and I said, "Hey," and your mum said to me, "No, sorry, they're not for sale. I can't tell you that." And I said, "Why?" And she said, "Because it's non-essential." Like, non-essential, but you can buy like all the drinks and all the Budweisers and whatnot and up in the shop. Like, it's a joke. You can't even buy a jacket.
All right, and one more from Hayley.
Hiya, Adrian. Oh my God, I've just absolutely had enough. I have a 5-year-old son who is autistic, who I am currently trying to toilet train during the midterm. So when I found out that a lockdown was coming into effect, I went to Penneys and I bought as much pants as I thought I needed. Turns out I don't have enough. So who are the government to deem what's essential and what's not essential? So they're trying to say that my son's pants aren't essential. If pants and socks aren't essential, then why do we wear any? We may as well walk around in the nip. This whole thing is just, it's gone way out of control now, and I'm just absolutely furious. So now I need to order pants online and wait God knows how long for them to get here. Anyway, thanks, Adrian.
All right, now I'm being told that in a number of stores you can still buy pants and socks and stuff like that are considered essential. So it's not all stores, but it seems some stores you can. Joey, you're on 98 FM. How are you, Joey?
How are you getting on?
Good, thanks, Joey. Your girlfriend was pregnant during the last lockdown and couldn't get stuff. What's the situation now?
Well, she was pregnant during the last lockdown, but Dunn's was open in the last lockdown. And we got stuff from the maternity section in Dunn's.
Right, okay. So, what do you think of people complaining about the fact that they can't get clothes?
Well, to be honest, I have a 5-month-old son there, and he's going through clothes like tomorrow. I think it's very, very, very unfair that we have to wait 6 weeks for him to buy more clothes. And, like, I can't understand, though, the last lockdown, Tesco's was open, the department there, and Dunn's was open, no bother. But this lockdown, they're closing it down.
Yeah.
Doesn't make any sense, does it?
And to a lot of people, it doesn't make sense. To an awful lot of people, very confused. There's a part of me that kind of thinks to myself, like, we knew this was coming, and like that message I played a while ago, we knew this was coming, so you could have been more prepared.
But yeah, true. We could have been more prepared, but if you can't, I think clothes for any person is essential in any lockdown, really. Like, I think
but we had a message there a while ago saying, I'm sure you have a washing machine, do you not?
Well, you could have a washing machine. Yeah, but like, if you buy clothes for a baby, like, he's going to go out with them. Like, You know, like then you go into Dunn Stores and Tesco's and buy as much alcohol you want, but you can't buy clothes.
I know that doesn't make sense to me either. It really
because the government are getting money from selling alcohol, not getting money from buying clothes.
Yeah. Okay. So, do you think they should be allowed to open, or can you cope for 5 weeks?
Well, personally, I think it should be open anyway. If Dunn Stores is open, the shop itself, I don't understand why the department of the clothes department is closed off for Tesco's part when it wasn't closed off in the last lockdown.
Well, some of them did eventually close in the last lockdown. I can remember Dunn's around in Stephen's Green here. They did close off the clothes section. They may not have at the very start, but they did eventually, for the same reason, right, with the same sort of pressure. Shauna sent me this WhatsApp voice note.
Hey guys, I'm an essential worker, and unfortunately I don't get a uniform, so I have to wear my own clothes to work. And I just find that if a pair of jeans or something is ripped, or, you know, I don't like wearing leggings, and that's all I have at home when I'm not in work is leggings and tracksuit bottoms or dresses, and I'm not able to wear dresses to work. So I'd need to be able just to fly down to the likes of Tesco or Dunn's and grab a pair of tracksuit bottoms. No more than if my child rips all her socks like she usually does, or we end up with odd socks, just to fly down and grab a pair of socks. Also, it's coming up to Christmas. People are going to start panicking, trying to get clothes in for their kids. Obviously, I know people don't wait, or people wait until last minute to get everything. I am one of those people. I'm fortunate enough that I can pay for stuff online, but there's older people who mightn't have bank accounts, who just have their post office accounts, and they're just collecting their money, and they can't order stuff online unless people do it for them. So it's true. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I just feel though maybe attacking the retailers or the security guard, that's not right. That's not their problem. They are following guidelines like majority of us are doing, but just have it open. It's not like clothes are an essential item.
You see, on the one hand, I can understand the contradiction here. You have a Dunn Stores that is open, and it's open for groceries, but the drapery section is closed. That doesn't really make an awful lot of sense. But when you think of the smaller retailers around the country that sell clothes, they're all shut up. It would be a little bit unfair that they have to close, yet Dunn's could sell clothes, if you know what I mean. It does seem a little bit unfair. Angela, you're on 98 FM. Hi, Angela.
Hi, Adrian. How are you?
Good, thanks. What did you want to say on this?
I'm sick to my teeth of hearing about not being able to buy clothes. I do understand, that, okay, like the ladies there that need maternity and all that. But as you said, we knew about this. We knew it was coming. And I can't buy a pair of socks for my children. Send them in odd socks. Who cares?
Yeah, or like that message said, use your washing machine.
Yeah, use your washing machine, for God's sake. And as they said, there are some, I haven't been into my local Dunn's to see if they are. But I've heard that, they are selling things like socks and baby clothes, and they're essential ones. But for God's sake, you're one there, I can't wear a pair of jeans into work. For God's sake. Your employers obviously realise that, and don't tell me that your jeans are going to rip. That's a load of...
Okay, so you think people are just moaning for the sake of moaning?
Moaning. They're not taking notice of this lockdown at all anyway. For God's sake, people weren't giving out at the start of this, in March, that they couldn't go and buy clothes. But what happened was they all came out of it. Now we have to go back into it. So now they're moaning about everything. I would have, through all of this anyway, shut down the off-licence and everything. I would have. And because it's too easy now to go and buy drink for kids, and kids to buy drink, and teenagers to buy drink in an offie than it is in the pub, because they don't have the money to sit down and eat and drink anyway. But it's it is 6 weeks. We have 5 weeks left. You knew at least 3 or 4 days in advance that this was going to happen. Cop on. It's a few jumpers and a few pairs of pants. I'm sure you can all go through, this with a washing machine. That's all.
Okay, in fact, a message very similar in tone says, are these people serious? Do they not know what a lockdown means? No shopping for anything other than food. I agree that alcohol should not be sold. I think the pubs should have been let stay open for restricted hours and with strict social distancing rules so that alcoholics can get the drink that they need to survive, but not take out drink. Close all the off licences. You agree with that as well. I don't see it happening. I really don't.
I definitely don't see it happening, but I think it would have been the solution, because a lot of this now at the moment has been passed through, house parties and all of that. So leave the pubs open, let people go, do their social distancing there and go home. I think that would have been the biggest solution. But
anyway, regardless, you're saying we've only 5 weeks left of this. Just put up and shut up.
For God's sake. Wash your jumper. Wash your knickers.
Okay, yep. All right, thanks, Angela. Let's have a listen to this from Catherine.
Hi, Catherine here. I totally agree with those callers. I think it's ridiculous that you can go into Marks and Spencer's food hall, but you can't purchase clothes in Marks and Spencer's, or the same with Dunnes Stores. You can go in and get all your grocery shopping, but you can't obviously buy any clothing items, even though you're in the stores at the time. I know it's to stop people browsing, but I think less people are actually browsing. Most people just go in and get what they need and leave. And the other thing I think is crazy is that the likes of McDonald's is open and Smith's Toy Store is open, but you can't buy essential clothing items if you need them.
Okay, Catherine, Smith's isn't open. Smith's is open for click and collect. Okay, you can't walk into Smith's and shop around. Karen sent me this WhatsApp voice note.
Hello. Adrian, I do think it's ridiculous that the likes of Dunnes and Tesco that have a section, they have to close it off. But on the other hand, I understand it's in the interest of fairness to the other non-essential retailers. So the likes of River Island or Topshop or H&M or whatever else, why should one be allowed and the other not? Particularly when those companies, Dunnes and Tesco's, are making massive profits at the moment. I'm 7 months pregnant. I have to buy baby stuff. But I'll just hold off. It's not the end of the world. It's only another few weeks. I don't love shopping online, so I won't bother. I'll do another 4 weeks. My son needs black socks. Won't be able to pick them up in Tesco today. But look, it's not the end of the world. It's only another few weeks. We'll hold off. And hopefully we'll all be back to normal soon.
All right, thanks very much indeed. Heather is also not happy. Let's have a listen to her message on WhatsApp.
They said that the reason they were doing this lockdown was that they didn't have to cancel Christmas. Yet they've all the Christmas stock in the shops, but have it all blocked off. I mean, if you're already in there anyway, it just makes no sense. It just makes no sense. I'm a beauty therapist and I haven't worked for 5 months of this year. It's absolutely ridiculous.
All right, Heather, thanks very much indeed. Caroline says none of this makes sense.
Adrian, I was in a centre the other day, and behind me in the queue and in front of me in the queue there was about 10 to 12 Brazilians. They were South American, and each one of them had a box of Budweiser or a box of Heineken and the amount of drink. They were clearly having a house party, but I can't go in and buy socks. Doesn't make sense.
Sinead, send me this.
What about the people whose kids are now 2 and 3 and they're like, right, 6 weeks lockdown, let's get these toddlers potty trained, but yet we can't buy any underwear for the kids? This is absolutely ridiculous. Carry on. I've never even heard the likes of it. And to buy online is more expensive, where you can just go to Pennies to get clothes to run around outside for €2 and €3 for leggings and t-shirts. Do you know what I mean? Who's going to spend €15 to send your kid out to run around in the wet and mucky weather? Really, come on, we need winter coats, we need hats, we need gloves, we need scarves. It's just madness.
All right, Sarah sent me this message.
No, Adrian, that woman isn't wrong. My local Dunnes anyways, all the clothes, pyjamas, baby stuff, that they have nappies and bits like that in the baby section instead of clothes. But she's right, you can buy a frame or a mirror or all the Christmas crap that's in. You can buy all that, but you can't buy pyjamas or any of the basics or whatever.
All right, Gary has no sympathy at all for these shoppers.
Jesus, Adrian. Every person is the same. They could have got this stuff 3-4 weeks ago. They knew it was going to be closed. And as for that girl, Kelly, with her niece's birthday, she knew it was her niece's birthday 4 weeks ago. She could have got her something. Tell her to cop herself on, will you?
All right, thank you, Gary. Siobhan sent me this WhatsApp voice note.
This is annoying me as well, Adrian, in fairness. Like, we're either in lockdown or we're not in lockdown. So it's not fair that most shops have to close and then other shops are allowed to stay open and sell the products that the other shops that closed aren't able to sell anymore. Like, just get on with it. You can buy stuff online. These people are just making a mountain out of a molehill. Like, there's enough doom and gloom. Just stop complaining about stupid crap like this.
Okay, yeah. Sharon?
Come on now, this is wrecking my head, Adrian. They're all being a bit too much of drama queens. I ordered everything I needed the other day online in Dunnes Stores, €3 or something, and it got delivered 2 days later. Come on, give it over, people.
All right, Peter.
Adrian, people need to relax about the alcohol thing. Yeah, you can buy alcohol, but not everybody who's buying it is having a house party. My father died 6 months ago at the height of all this. We couldn't have a wake for him. What kept us sane was being able to have video calls and have a drink with friends over video calls and family. And that's not being able to see friends in the last 6-7 months. That's what keeps you sane, being able to have one or two on a video call and socialise to some extent with them.
All right, and one last message, an interesting take from Victoria.
But in the north of Ireland, you can buy all non-essential. So it's obviously going to encourage people to get in their car and break the 5k and just travel down north. We should have had an all-Ireland approach with this, like we did with foot and mouth. But no, we haven't.
No, you're dead right, Victoria. In Northern Ireland, where their case numbers have been much higher than down here, in fact, in some cases 3 times as high as in the Republic, all of the retail stores in the north are still open. And that just doesn't really make sense. But anyway, it is what it is. Yes, all of the stores in the north are still open, and she's probably right. We should have had an all-island approach to this, but sure, that's the island we live on. We can never agree to do anything together. Anyway, there you go. Thank you, Victoria. Thank you, all of you. You're listening to 98 FM's Dublin Talks. This is Adrian Kennedy, and we're with you until midday today. Now, we don't want to judge women with our next conversation. We don't want to shame. We just want to get to the bottom of this and find out why. What am I talking about? Well, according to research out today, Ireland has a pretty poor level of breastfeeding mothers. Ireland has one of the lowest breastfeeding rates in the world, believe it or not, with only 2 out of 3 women starting it before leaving the maternity hospital, according to a new report. In one smaller maternity unit, just 1 in 3 women tried breastfeeding their newborn during their stay, according to the Irish Maternity Indicator System 2019 national report. Last year, only 19,076 out of 51,000 odd babies born in 18 out of 19 maternity units were being exclusively breastfed on discharge from the maternity hospital. And we want to find out why. Why do you think the levels of breastfeeding are so low here compared to many other countries in the world? 6797 981 is our telephone number. You can text, you can WhatsApp, or you can send a WhatsApp voice note to 0877 98 98 98.
The sound of the city, from Stony Batter to Stepaside. This is 98 FM's Dublin Talks with Adrian Kennedy.
Our telephone number is 6797 981. You can text, you can WhatsApp, or you can send a WhatsApp voice note to 0877 98 98 98. I want to get to the bottom of why Ireland has one of the lowest breastfeeding rates in the whole world. It's actually quite startling, some of the figures. So last year, only 19,000 out of 51,000 babies born in 18 out of 19 maternity units were being exclusively breastfed on discharge from the maternity hospital. 19,000 out of over 51,000. That's a very small percentage, to be honest. And we're trying to find out why. Why? Is it because that there isn't enough support? Is it because some women just couldn't be bothered? What is it? Why have we such low rates of breastfeeding here in Ireland? Call me right now on 6797 981 or send me a WhatsApp voice note or a WhatsApp to 0877 98 98 98. Rachel, you're on 98 FM. How are you, Rachel?
Hey, Adrian, how are you?
Now, you breastfed your 3, is that right?
Well, I breastfed my first 2. My third child, I tried to breastfeed, but she just wouldn't latch at all. So, yeah, but I have to be honest, I think it's a mixture. I think it's a mixture of there's very, very little support. I think there's very little encouragement and very little education.
But there certainly is encouragement in the maternity hospitals. You are actively encouraged.
I'll tell you this, my first child, the only reason I actually ended up breastfeeding was because he got sick after he was born. And he was brought up to the neonatal unit, and they asked him to express some milk because he wasn't drinking. That was how I started breastfeeding my first child. And I have to be honest, it was the most easiest, most natural. It was the best thing I've ever done, and I swear by it. I absolutely swear by it. But I have to be honest, up till that time, I knew nothing. I literally knew that breastfeeding was your child feeds off your breast. That's all I knew. I knew nothing of the benefits. I knew nothing. I was told nothing. I was just I remember being asked, are you bottle feeding or breastfeeding? I remember saying bottle feeding, and that was it. That was absolutely it.
So how long ago was that, though?
Well, that was 20 years ago, but I've had 2 other kids since then, and on my second child, the same thing. They said, are you breastfeeding or bottle feeding? And I said breastfeeding. And that was it. There was nothing that way. It was just okay.
Right, okay.
There was no, are you okay with it? Are you up to date with everything? Do you know how to do it? Do you know what it entails? There was nothing. There was absolutely nothing. And I remember when I had my daughter then, and it was the same thing. It was the exact same thing. It was like bottle feeding or breastfeeding. And I was saying breastfeeding, and that was it. Okay. There was even just to be kind of saying, okay, well, how do you feel about it? Are you sure that's the way you want to go? And, are you comfortable with it? Do you need help? Do you need any support around it? I knew nothing. I had to kind of just learn myself. And I have to say, I swear by it, it was the easiest. It made my...
And as a matter of interest, you're saying about there's not enough support and all of that.
No.
And forgive my ignorance as a man, but is it not something that just comes naturally to you?
No, I didn't.
Do you need to be taught how to do it?
I think you do. When I first started breastfeeding, first I had to express, so I didn't think anything of it. And then when he came back down to the ward to me, they had to show me what to do. I did not know what to do. And I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, some women don't have, how can I say, am I allowed to say this on air?
Yeah, go on.
Some women's nipples aren't suitable for breastfeeding. So even with that, there's kind of like little things, like little guards you can put on that will help, that can help women that it doesn't suit, for choice of a better word. But all these things you don't know. I never knew.
Well, I'm just after getting a message, and maybe this is more recent, but it says there's plenty of support and encouragement from the maternity hospitals. I attended classes and stayed extra nights in hospital to try and establish breastfeeding. Personally, I think it's because of our attitude as a nation. I had everything from you don't know how much your baby's getting to people pointing at you while you were feeding. What an old-fashioned attitude. And
I had that. I had people pointing at me.
So is that what the problem is? And I'm trying to understand why in Ireland
there's a stigma around it. I do
still in 2020.
I think there is. Like my youngest daughter isn't that old. She's only 9 years of age. Like, so I don't think, like, maybe that is the case in some hospitals, but anyone I know that has actually even recently been to the same hospital that I was at, I'm not going to name them, like, but anyone I know has never gotten kind of encouragement, support, advice. You've never been even guided through it. And I have to say, I was very lucky that there was one nurse up in the neonatal unit, and only for her, I wouldn't have had an absolute iota. No one else took the time. She took literally half an hour out to spend with me, and no one else. No one else did.
You see, I'm trying to find out, just on that message, I really want to understand why in Ireland specifically we have lower breastfeeding rates than most other countries in the world. What makes us so different, and why?
I think people look at us as lazy. I do. I think people look at it as the easy way out rather than what it is, the benefits of it. I really do.
People see it as the easy way out.
I think people look at it as kind of a dirty thing, or how can I explain this? As an easy way out, kind of, oh, you don't want to get up and you don't want to make your bottles. And someone said that to me before. Actually, I remember that someone said that to me on my foursome. And someone says,
somebody said to you, you're breastfeeding because you're lazy.
Yeah,
you don't want to have to make bottles and sterilise them and all of that.
Yeah.
Really?
And I laughed, and I have to say, it's amazing, because for me, I found it made such a difference. And it makes a difference to the bond you have with the child. I do believe it helps you bond with them better.
OK, stay there for 1 second if you can, please, Rachel. 6797 981 is our telephone number. You can text, WhatsApp, or send a WhatsApp voice note to 0877 98 98 98. We're trying to understand why the rates of breastfeeding in Ireland are lower than most other countries in the world. It can't be that people still give you dirty looks, can it? If you've experienced that, I'd love to hear from you. Darren sent me this.
Adrian, I think it's shame. Like, you have something that's natural, and I've actually kicked people out of a restaurant for shaming a woman who was sitting there naturally breastfeeding her baby. Like, people frown upon it sometimes when they see it out in parks or out in public, but as something so natural, why in God's name would you look down on it?
Who are these people? That's what I'd like to know. Are you one of those people who would frown on a woman breastfeeding her child in a coffee shop or on a park bench? If you are, I want to talk to you on 6797 981. Dara, you're on 98 FM. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, thank you. You used to get strange looks, did you?
Yeah, and I breastfed my daughter till she was nearly age 2, and certainly at that age, I almost felt like I really, really had to hide it. But yeah, I was asked a few times in cafes to go down to the breastfeeding room or to the bathroom in Ireland, and I never ever got that abroad. So I think it's to do with the Catholic kind of element of Ireland, that it is almost people like look at you like as if it's a sexual thing you're doing or something.
Is that still? How old is your child?
She's 3 now, so I only stopped a year ago.
Oh, right, so we're talking recently.
Yeah. I remember feeling, you could really feel that it wasn't normal here, and a majority of my friends that had kids here didn't breastfeed, certainly not in public. I was the only one. And I would definitely get looks, and I didn't notice that in other countries. You know, if I travelled with her, it'd be no problem, but in Ireland, there's definitely something with it.
Right, so in other countries that you may have been in, whilst breastfeeding, no issue at all?
No issue
dirty looks, no crooked looks, nothing?
No.
But here in Ireland...
Yeah, it was almost as if you were exposing yourself. People kind of like in shock that you would... Like I felt that I had to put like a blanket or something over myself, which I would never do when I was abroad, you know. But I honestly think it stems, again, it's the relation with the Catholic Church in Ireland. I think women are suppressed in so many ways, and I think that's why
I have to say, in a country that has become so liberated in recent years, with changes in our laws in all sorts of aspects of our lives, I'm really shocked by this. That people still give you dirty looks, and you get sent off to the toilet to feed your child.
Yeah, they'd be very polite, like, oh, we have a breastfeeding room. In other words, like...
Yeah, get out of here. Nobody wants to see you.
You should be uncomfortable. Yeah, exactly. Whereas you'd never get that anywhere else.
So is that the reason you think that breastfeeding rates in Ireland are lower than anywhere else?
I think 100%. I think that's what it comes down to. I think we're too conservative. And, it's just not understood as well in Ireland.
And that's what I want to find out. I want to find out if any of our listeners right now are the sort of people that would object to somebody breastfeeding in a coffee shop or on a bus or whatever. Because I find it hard to believe that in this day and age anybody would have an issue with it. When, as we said already, It is the most natural thing in the world. It's
exactly.
It's what your breasts were put there for in the first place.
Yeah, 100%. But unfortunately, there's a lot of people that don't don't see it that way and seem to, I think, sexualize it, and that's the issue.
Right, like I said, I'd love to hear from anybody who might object to a woman breastfeeding in a public place. Laura says she didn't breastfeed on her children, but she can explain and can't explain why.
Hi Adrian, I have 2 kids. One is 5 and the other is 3. I didn't breastfeed on either. To be honest with you, I don't really know why, but if I ever did have any more kids, I would definitely do it. But that lady that was on the phone earlier is absolutely right. As I said, it's only 5 years ago, and I was simply asked, are you breastfeeding or bottle feeding? And I just said bottle, and that was it. Nobody encouraged me, nobody said, are you sure? Nobody pretty much said anything else. So yeah, but as I said, not that I regret it, but I definitely would try if I ever did have any more kids.
Okay, right. Laura, thanks very much indeed. 6797 981 is our telephone number. Sammy, you're on 98 FM. Hi, Sammy.
Hi, how are you?
Now, your wife had an awful experience. Tell me about that.
Indeed. Basically, the first thing ever, I'm not going to mention the name of the hospital. Basically, we wanted to do a cesarean, but they still insist and they refuse to do a cesarean. She didn't go to the labour. They did it. They wounded themselves, the water, and then basically the heart of the baby rate went up, and they had to take a sample from his head for a blood sample. They did it 5 times. Machine is not working, and they insist to go with natural delivery. I'm not sure if I should say it, but they opened her more than what should be, and then she was overstitched. It's been a 4 month. She went into deep depression. I think the main reason why most of the women, they prefer to go for a bottle feeding is a depression. There's a lot of women, they leave from the hospitals, no supports. And the only question they ask is a bottle feeding or a natural feeding. But I think the main reason is depression.
Oh.
Yeah. And
why would that be so unique to Ireland that we have such low breastfeeding rates? What makes this country different from any other country is what I'm really trying to understand here.
It's basically the support, basically. That's the main reason. A woman, they leave with, a human with them. They don't know what to do. They never had this experience before. It's not something natural that you have it yourself. Definitely not. You're having a baby new to your house. You're waking up different times, every 3 hours, 2 hours. You don't know what you do. Do you know what I mean? So I think the main reason is there's no enough education, or there's no enough...
And again, this isn't 20 years ago, this is recent.
This is just 4 months ago.
Right, okay. So it is a lack of practical support is what the issue is here.
That's what I believe, yes.
All right, okay. I'd love to hear from you on 6797 981. Why do you think here in Ireland we have a lower rate of breastfeeding than most other countries in the world? Let me have a listen to this from Ciara.
I think because breastfeeding is not the norm. So a lot of people will kind of do what their parents did or what their friends do or all that kind of stuff. So it kind of just rubs off like. I think as well there's not really as much support in the hospitals as there could be, and I don't know that all the nurses are as highly trained in breastfeeding as they could be either. From Ciara.
All right, Ciara, thanks very much indeed. We'll take a very quick break. I'd love to hear from you on 6797 981. But before we go to the break, I want to do a little social experiment. And this is a question from mothers who have breastfed. Were you ever shamed for doing it in public, or got funny looks or dirty looks in a public place? Just send me a WhatsApp to 0877 98 98 98 in answer to that question. So what I'm hearing from a number of people is it's our attitude. leads to so few women breastfeeding in Ireland. It's a problem in Ireland. So again, a question for mothers who have breastfed. Were you ever shamed for doing it in public or gotten funny or dirty looks in a public place? Send me a WhatsApp right now to 0877 98 98 98.
The sound of the city from Drumcondra to Dorky. This is 98 FM's Dublin Talks with Adrian Kennedy.
New figures out today show that breastfeeding rates here in Ireland are lower than in most other countries. And I'm trying to understand why. Trying to get my head around why we seem to be so different to other nations. Gareth sent me this message.
How's it going, lads? I remember me and my ex-partner, she tried for 2 weeks to breastfeed, and the child was just not getting enough food. And we tried for ages, and she done her best. The child wasn't getting enough food, and it turned out he was a colic. And as soon as we gave him a bottle, he was happy out, and why try and force something if it's not going to work?
All right, thank you, Gareth. Sarah, you're on 98 FM. Hiya, Sarah.
Hi, Adrian. How are you?
Now, you weren't asked at all what you were planning to do feeding-wise.
I don't remember being asked because I had my first daughter. She's 9. I don't remember being asked. I just remember being asked what formula I wanted to give her.
Oh, right.
And then, yeah. And then when
sorry, did the conversation of breastfeeding ever come up?
No, I remember not wanting to do it because I remember my mum and my sister saying to me, oh no, them kids just cry all the time, or they'll be spoiled rotten because you constantly have them up in your arms and all of that. I just remember, and then I just didn't want to do it.
You were kind of put off it before it ever even was brought up?
Yeah, I didn't even think about it. And then I had my second daughter in Australia, and I felt like they're really into it over there, and I still was kind of put off the idea, but then I did it in the hospital and I absolutely loved it, and I just think it was so much better.
And were you actively encouraged in Australia?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, they talk to you about it and they tell you like it's so much better for your baby, and they're going to get like all the nutrients in the first few days and the antibodies, and like you can.
But all of that was never explained to you here in Ireland, was it?
No.
No. Oh, right. Okay. So because of the encouragement that you got in Australia and being told the advantages of it and so on, you decided to give it a go because you felt supported.
They have helplines there as well where you can ring like 24 hours a day.
Really?
Like you can ring them up in the middle of the night if you don't feel like you're doing it right or something's wrong or stuff like that. Like there is so much more support there, and like I wouldn't have a problem like sitting down in a shopping centre over there and breastfeeding my baby, but I know for a fact like I would feel really embarrassed to do that in Ireland. Like I wouldn't do it because I know the looks you'd get or the comments or
right. So we Irish have a problem then. That's what I'm hearing. That you go to a country like Australia, you're encouraged whilst you're in the maternity hospital. They tell you all the advantages of it. They help you along. They have helplines, and it's no problem to feed your child in a public place. But here in Ireland, we're the exact opposite, are we?
Yeah, I wouldn't feel comfortable doing it here. I think like men get really embarrassed. Like even my husband, like we've been out for dinner before, and like he's just like sitting there, and then he realised like the girl across from him was breastfeeding the baby, and he's like, oh my God, she probably thinks I was looking at her now, and he's mortified. And I'm like, it's not a big deal. Like just like why are you getting embarrassed
like I said, we've become such an advanced country and a liberated country in many ways over the last 10 or 20 years. I can't get my head around this. I really can't. I've just gotten a message in this second. Yes, I was shamed for breastfeeding my son. My own aunt was appalled that I was feeding my son in the sitting room while everyone else was in the kitchen and garden when visiting family. She thought I should have gone upstairs to do it.
Yeah, that's what it's like here. I remember my cousin doing it years ago, and I remember like everyone being real uncomfortable in the house, and she'd have to go upstairs into her room and do it. And like I think that people see that, like I seen that and I was like, oh no, I'm never doing that. Like or your mum saying that baby's just going to cry all the time. They don't get enough food. They're going to be spoiled.
Okay, so seeing all of that before you had your first had put you completely off it before you even tried on the first, and you didn't try on the first.
Yeah, didn't even try.
It's quite shocking, to be quite honest with you. Sarah became a mother again recently, and she breastfeeds.
Can't come on the air. Sarah here. I have an 8-week-old just under me. I'm asleep, so I'm trying not to wake her. But yeah, I breastfeed because I'm lazy. I don't want to sterilise and make bottles. What's wrong with saying that? I think it's dead handy. Your boob is with you all the time. You just pop it out, feed your baby. I openly I'm too lazy to make bottles. And I think it's a nice bonding experience too. But I do say fed is best. If you can't do it, there's no harm in that. But I don't know if it's to do with COVID. But when I had my 3-year-old, they did offer me a lot of help. But on this baby, they just didn't really. I don't know if they didn't have the time, but yeah, they just said bottle or breast. And I was given bottles too in the hospital. I was doing a bit of combination. But yeah, no, they didn't say, do you need help? Would you like help for breastfeeding? I actually had to call them because I was struggling with the latch. So they helped a little bit, but they were just kind of too busy.
All right, Sarah, thanks very much indeed. And Steph sent me this message. She's a lot to say on this. Let's have a listen to what Steph has to say about
that, because it is not the easy way out. It is actually really difficult. Well, it's not difficult for everyone, but the majority of women I've spoke to who breastfeed their children or their babies, or even up to toddlers. I'm currently breastfeeding my son. He'll be 2 in November. I've exclusively breastfed throughout. Now, when I had him, at first I found it really difficult to get the latch. It took me a couple of days to get the latch. So I was offered to give him a formula bottle, which I did. I think he had about 3 Aptamel bottles in the hospital. I hand expressed the colostrum to feed him, so I syringe fed him. But it was very difficult. And I think the nurses don't want to put pressure on you. When they ask you, are you bottle feeding or breastfeeding? And you say either or. So let's say you said bottle feeding. I don't think they want to put the pressure on you to say, oh, well, like, you know, the benefits of breast milk, it's so beneficial, the colostrum, the liquid gold, the antibodies, the nutrients. I don't think they want to put that pressure on you if you've just had your baby. Now, I had decided beforehand that I was going to breastfeed because of my appointments in the Rotunda Hospital. So the midwife, she just explained to me how beneficial it was for the baby. So I said, you know what, I'm going to give it a go. If I can do it, I will. Beforehand, I would have been, no, definitely not breastfeeding, not a chance. It's not for me. And it was actually my dad said it to me. My dad was like, oh, are you going to breastfeed? That was the first thing he said when he found out I was pregnant. Are you going to breastfeed? And I was like, oh God, Jesus, I don't think so. And the reason being was I kind of didn't feel comfortable thinking, okay, going to have to get my boob out in front of people. I don't know how to do it. I don't know what's involved. I don't want to be doing. I'm just going to be having a baby. I think it's too much pressure. And then the more I learned about it, the more in my appointments and the more I kind of looked into it, I said, yeah, I'm going to give it a go. And I definitely think it was the best thing I ever did. I absolutely love breastfeeding. Now, it is hard. It's definitely not easy. It took me a few weeks to get established. Then there was ups and downs throughout. Like it's a roller coaster. Breastfeeding, I think, is a roller coaster. So anyone that says it's the easier way, like it definitely, for me, like it's a great bonding experience. It slows you down, like the pace. Like let's say you'd be going out at the weekends. You just had your baby. Well, you can't be going out at the weekends because you're learning how to feed. Your baby's learning how to feed. It really slows you down in motherhood, I think. And it's just a really special bonding experience. I absolutely love it.
All right, Steph, thanks very much. Some message. Cara, you're on 98 FM. Hiya, Cara.
Hiya.
Now, Cara, you weren't confident enough to breastfeed in public. Why?
No, I went back and forth for basically the first 8 months of my pregnancy. I wanted to do it, but I didn't want to have that whole thing in if I wanted to leave the house, which obviously I was planning to do. I knew I'd have to feed the baby and I'd be out, and I didn't want people looking at feet in cafes myself. You know, especially men and an older generation will come in and you'd see them gawking at a woman sitting there.
And do they really?
They do. I have seen it. And I noticed it more so when I was pregnant because it was something that was on my mind more. That it was something.
Okay, and because you were thinking of it, because it was on your mind, you were more conscious of it around you, and then you noticed people noticing and giving dirty looks.
Yeah, definitely. And then they have this in a lot of shopping centres and things, like a feeding room. And it's generally in the baby changing room. And if you've been in any of them, you'll know the smell in it is absolutely disgusting, because it's where they go to change babies' dirty nappies, and they want you to sit in there and feed your child. I wouldn't want to be fed in there, so I definitely wouldn't feed my baby.
No, and I've often heard that. Who wants to, be giving your child their lunch in the jacks?
In a pile of dirty nappies all around, kind of thing. It's horrible. So that's the solution. We'll shun you to a corner of the shopping centre beside the toilet in a baby changing room, and you can do whatever you want in there and feed your baby.
So is it a case that the reason our breastfeeding rates are so low compared to other countries in the world because of society's attitude to it? Is that what the problem is?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I have friends that are from different parts of Europe, and it's not a question with them. They breastfed their babies, and there was none of this, will we bottle feed, will we do this? They had their babies, they breastfed them, and then when they got to a certain age, probably then they introduced formula milk or whatever, but it's never a question for them to sit on the child.
It just happens,
They just do it. That's what their parents do. It's what their sisters, their aunties, their cousins all have done this. So, and nobody in my family had done it before me, and I had that thing as well of, God, what if I'm sitting in my mum and dad's house and I have to, if the baby wants to be fed, am I sitting with my dad and my brothers? Or
It's a really strange one that we stand out like a sore thumb around the world. Karen sent me this.
Adrian, it's definitely older generation who kind of, I suppose, frown upon it. I think, my own mother's age group, so women in their 60s, when they were having their babies, breastfeeding would have been seen as something you would have done if you were poor, if you couldn't afford formula. So I suppose they've carried that mentality on. I breastfed both mine. I'm pregnant on my third, and I hopefully will breastfeed again. I'm not going to put pressure on myself though, and I think a lot of it is there's a big divide. Most people who breastfeed just do it, and it is what it is, and if it works well, in my attitude to it is, if it works, it works. I would never look down on someone who doesn't, because how you feed your child is your own business. But I think a lot of people who don't breastfeed are very defensive about it, so it kind of creates this divide among women, with those who do and those who don't. Just my 2 cents.
All right, thank you, Karen. Joanne, you breastfed exclusively for 18 months. And your point on this is that boobs are basically over-sexualised.
Yeah, Adrian, I really think that that's the issue here, and that's the kind of vibe that I got when I started breastfeeding, that it was, I was lucky enough, I had 3 older sisters who all breastfed, so that was why I decided I was going to try it. Had they not breastfed, I think I probably would have just went with the bottle, because that was the norm, and it doesn't kind of put you out there as such. Nobody does a double take at you if you're sitting there feeding your child with a bottle. Yet I've been out in shopping centres, and the amount of looks that I get, men going bright red when they see a feed, even though you can actually see nothing, because I wore the tops where it's 2-top system. You have a vest top on underneath, say, your t-shirt, so one top goes up, the other part goes down. The baby's head covers the entire nipple and your breast, so you can't actually see anything.
And you're
whatsoever.
telling me that grown men would sit there going red-faced?
Yeah, I've been in shopping centres, and like that, I refuse to go into the bathroom or go into the baby changing room like your other caller was talking about, because I don't want to eat in there, and why should I, feed my child in there? And you have to go out of your way, bring your buggy, everything else. Your child is screaming, crying. They want to be fed. It's on tap, ready to go. So I would sit down, on a bench, wherever else. Now, I would kind of huddle to the side, because I'd be aware that it might make someone else uncomfortable. But yeah, they've got up and left, walked away. People I've had a few like tuts, or, kind of these looks, what is she doing type thing. I've had a lot of positive experiences as well, but all from women. Come over, I had a woman come over and sit beside me and congratulate me and say, fair play to you, doing this. It was in the Pavilion Shopping Centre in Swords. She said it's great to see, a young woman out feeding her child.
You would also agree that the problem here in Ireland is people's attitude?
Yeah, definitely. Because my partner's family, nobody breastfed, and it was, oh, you're not going to breastfeed. Oh, you'll have to do everything on your own. You're putting so much extra pressure on yourself. And it was only that I was adamant that I wanted to feed. But, your partner's there for 2 weeks. the first 2 weeks they're off work, and then they go back to work. So you're on your own again anyway.
Yeah.
Okay,
So attitude is the problem. I want to just give for anybody in this situation, for any woman who's thinking of breastfeeding or is actually breastfeeding, there is a breastfeeding support group here in Ireland. It was mentioned earlier on about having something like this in Australia. Now it's not a helpline, but it's called Cuidiu, Cuidiu. The website is www.cuidiu.ie, and it offers supports for breastfeeding women. So they are Cuidiu, cuidiu.ie. Thank you all of you for your calls. Thank you for listening today. We're back again tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. If there's something you'd like to bring up, send us an email to dublintalks@98fm.com. Have a great Tuesday. I'll talk to you tomorrow morning at 10. Barry Dunn is next with some great music lined up for the next hour, like these.
98 FM.